continuing with our reading of the book Building Your Warehouse of Wealth, written by Nelson Nash. Is a great book to understand the power of the dividend paying whole life insurance contract. So today we are reading part two of chapter three. Part one, we saw we started with the spending habits of the average American, and we saw this graph, and we learned that the average American spends out of every dollar, 34.5 cents go to pay the cost of financing, go to pay interest, go to pay charges. And part two, we're going to talk about professional credentials. So we're going to start with that. Okay. Down through the down through the years, it is very evident that men love to have letters after their names: PhD, MBA, MD, CPA, UFO, etc. We are discussing the idea of life insurance here. In this business, the first designation to appear was Chartered Life Underwriter. This designation is awarded to people who have passed the regimen of study that typically takes 2 years. At least that's how long it took me. It is very equivalent to a master's degree at any college. The American College, a private college in Bryn Mawr, Pennsylvania, offers the Chartered Life Underwriter curriculum and designation. Founded by the American College of Life Underwriters in the 1920s by Solomon S. Hubner of the University of Pennsylvania Wharton School, the CLU was the first credential program offered. Dr. Hubner, as an early analyst of human life value and an economic theory educator, developed the first professional curriculum for insurance agents. The human life value thought goes something like this: how old are you now? How many years do you expect to work? During this time frame, how much money on average do you feel that you will earn per year? Multiply that number of years times your expected average income. That is your expected earnings during your working life. But you will use up 40% of that income just to sustain yourself, your charities, your taxes, etc. The 60% balance is what you are worth to your family, your charities, and others that you may care about. But that is in the form of income over the period of time. To arrive at a principal sum that would produce that income over this period of time, we must discount this figure at a nominal rate of interest. That figure, we will say, is $500,000. That is your human life value. Suppose that you own a machine of some kind worth 500,000 and it was guaranteed to produce your income to your beneficiaries, but it was subject to destruction, total loss, etc. Would you insure it? How much would you insure it for? Now that we have that figure established, Let me show you how little you will have to pay my company to guarantee that result. That was Dr. Hubner's contribution to the subject of life insurance to help people arrive at the human to help people arrive at the amount of it that one should buy. With this in mind, please go back and look at the fifth graph of annual spending habits on page 30. This typical person is spending 34.5 cents out of every dollar he spent on interest alone, and this pattern really doesn't change at all, doesn't change all that much during his entire lifetime. This tells you that his need for finance during his lifetime is huge. So this is the graph on page 30, graph 5 or graph 5. Now go back to figure 1, how a participant whole life insurance policy works on page 7. Let's correlate that graph with the diagram. It should be pretty obvious that his need for finance during his lifetime is greater than his need for death benefit. So page 7, figure 1. There you go. As we go back to that pool of money that the insurance companies put to work, and what influences that pool of money, the monies that come in and the monies that go out. When a policy owner pays a premium for life insurance, isn't it obvious that the company has to put it to work in order to be able to pay the ultimate death benefit? Isn't it also obvious that the owner outranks all the possible places that the company must put the money to work? Then why not solve for the need for finance through this magnificent financial device? The reason that very few folks see this possibility is because of the way they think. They pay pennies in premiums and thus have access to pennies in cash value and conclude life insurance is just a penny and product. Nonsense. Change the way you think. Put in large premiums. In due course, you have access to a large pool of cash values that are accessible for the major purchases in life through policy loans. Please remember that it is all borrowed money. You finance everything you buy, whether you recognize the fact or not. Remember also that when you make a loan at a bank or some other financial organization, you must pay it back. When you buy life insurance from this type of company, you own the contract, not the company. Do you want to steal from your warehouse of wealth and destroy it? I hope not. In fact, if you are halfway smart, you should pay the policy loan back at a higher rate of interest than what the company charges. This extra money is just additional capital to expand your system. This is done through something called a paid up addition rider or through buying additional policies. I wonder why Dr. Hubner at the American College didn't see this fact. Surely it was because of the way he thought. Consider my own previous spending habits. I spent 35 years in life insurance sales. Remember also that I was educated as a forester and spent 10 years working in that arena. I thought that timberland was a good place to build and store wealth. It is. A number of pension plans own vast amounts of timberland. So I accumulated about 1,000 acres of such in Alabama and Georgia, utilizing the All American Plan of Acquisition, other people's money. As long as I stuck to this type of investment, something that I knew about, I made some money. But the loot of all the magazine stories and other sources of how profitable it is to be involved in land development with the use of leverage cash is the snare. You guessed it, I indulged. In the late 70s, I made some money that way too. Prime interest rates at the local commercial banks at that time were 8% on 90-day loans. But I'm not a prime customer. That's the rate they charge their best customers, the ones they know they are going to get the money back from. We used to be able to say that it's like General Motors. Can't say that anymore. It's government motors now. At every seminar that I conduct, I take a survey to see if there are any prime radar bank people attending. Never met anyone yet. All of us peons have to pay 1.5% over prime rate. All of us pawns have to pay 1.5% over prime rate. Nevertheless, I made some money under those conditions. Then along came 1980 and 1981. Prime rate rose to 21.5% and it stayed there for 18 months. Add 1.5% to that, and you have 23% interest. I got caught owing a lot of money under those conditions. Through many months of this financial pain during that time, it finally dawned on me that I could make policy loans from three different life insurance companies at 5%, 6%, and 8%. And the only thing that limited how much I could borrow was the cash value in them. Although I had bought a lot of this type of insurance, it was nowhere near the amount I should have bought to solve this problem. I have been thinking the way most folks think. Now I saw clearly that I should increase my premium outlay dramatically to more than six times my previous amount. This would create significant cash values from which I would borrow and pay off the snakes and dragons at the bank. When I described this idea to my peers in the life insurance business at that time, they all said, "You have a good idea there, but you owe a lot of money. As soon as you pay off your loans, you should put your idea to work." Nope, that is the way the world thinks, and they have never been right about anything. Enter through the narrow gate, for wide is the gate and broad is the road that leads to destruction, and many enter through it. But small is the gate and narrow the road that leads to life, and only a few find it. And that is Matthew 7:13 to 14 in the Bible. Find a way to get the warehouse of wealth started as soon as possible. It can be done overnight. It must be done incrementally. The earlier one starts a policy, the longer it is in force, the more efficient it gets. The best plan, the best time to plant a tree is 20 years ago. The next, the next best time is today. And Nelson says it's anonymous. Well, I Google I googled that quote and I thought it was an African quote, but Google says that is a Chinese quote. So better is to say that it's anonymous because even Google said it's a Chinese quote. It can't tell who that quote belongs to. So anonymous looks good. So anyway, thank you for uh, visiting uh, part two of chapter three. And if you feel that dividend paying whole life insurance contract can help you, contact me and I help you design your solution. I help you design your policy. You can contact me under the video that you are looking at, that you will see him in Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, X. Um, so you can put your information in there. And you can also contact me at jorgeeherrera.com and we can have a conversation. And I will answer your questions and I will help you build your policy. Thank you. I'll see you next time.